of the ASI Student Senate. Before we begin with roll call, I will begin with the land acknowledgement. The Fresno State campus sits in the midst of the San Joaquin Valley, a valley rich in the traditions and representation of Native American peoples and cultures. We're grateful to be in the traditional homelands of the Oka-Tumano peoples, whose diverse tribal communities share stewardship over this land. Thank you for joining me in this acknowledgement. We will now move on to roll call. The Senate Recorder will take the roll call, and please respond when your name is called.
President Saleh. Here. EVP Prado.
Here.
VPF Guzman. Here. VPEX Vu.
Here.
Senator Armstrong.
Here.
Senator Camley.
Here.
Senator Carrillo.
Here.
Senator Chovanin.
Here.
Senator Guzman.
Oh, here, sorry.
Senator Hassan.
Here.
Senator Hernandez.
Here.
Senator Jarvis.
Here.
Senator Martinez.
Here.
Senator Marcos.
Here.
Senator Morales.
Here.
Senator Pierce.
Here.
Senator Rivera.
Here.
Senator Seavey.
Here.
Senator Singh.
Here.
And Senator Vang.
Here.
Thank you, Senate Recorder. There are 16 senators present and 4 executives present. Quorum is met. We'll now proceed to item 3.0, public comment. Public comment is a time for any member of the public to address the Senate on any issue affecting Associate Students, Inc. and/or California State University, Fresno. You can either address your concern live during the meeting at the allotted time, or you can send your comment ahead of time via email to asi-vice-president@mail.fresnostate.edu. We will now open the floor to public comment. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. If there is any public comment, please approach the podium. Seeing and hearing none, we shall be moving on to action item 4.0, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Martinez?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second? Senator Carrillo?
I second.
Any discussion or debate? Any competing motions? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The motion to approve the agenda for Wednesday, February 18th passes. The agenda has been adopted. We will now open the floor for motions on item 5.0, approval of the minutes. The Senate will review the minutes from the ASI Student Senate meeting held on February 4th, 2026. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Martinez?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second? Senator Marcos?
Second.
Any discussion or debate? Any competing motions? All those in favor to approve the minutes say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The motion to approve the minutes from Wednesday, February 4th, 2026 passes, and the minutes are adopted. We'll now move forward to item 6.0, reports. First item is item 6.1, campus resource reports. Each speaker presenting a campus resource report will have 10 minutes to address the Student Senate. Are there any campus resource reports? Seeing and hearing none, we'll now move forward to item 6.2, campus administration reports. Each speaker presenting a campus administration report will have 3 minutes to address the Student Senate. Are there any campus administration reports? Thank you for coming. Please introduce yourselves in the setting at the school. We look forward to
This seems really far away. I don't think I need it. Hi everyone, Amy Allen from Student Involvement. I just wanted to thank ASI for supporting our Chris Herron event tomorrow night and providing pizza. If you don't plan on attending, I highly encourage you to change your mind and invite all of your constituents. Of course, we're collaborating with our colleagues from the Student Health and Counseling Center. Fresno State Athletics and the Alumni Association will have resources there that are available to students, and also information from CHSU. They'll be providing Narcan and Narcan training information, as well as other information for our Alumni Association. And it's a very compelling story. So if you're not familiar with Chris Herron, I definitely encourage you to attend. I think you'll walk away with a lot of information and information that you can share with other students. So if you haven't registered already, the registration link is on our FS Get Involved Instagram page. Fresno State, their main page, also shared it. So you can go to either one of those and register from there. If not, please show up. I know many of you will be there regardless, but please show up and encourage members of your clubs, organizations, your colleges to attend as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for extending the invitation, and we appreciate the work you do at Fresno State. We'll now move forward to item 7.0, new business. We'll be be moving on to discussion item 7.1, Health Center. Dr. Murillo will provide an overview of the Fresno State Student Health Center, including available medical services, wellness programs, health education initiatives, and student support resources. This will better inform the cohort on how to guide peers towards appropriate care, advocate for student wellness needs, and identify opportunities for collaboration in support of a healthy campus community. The Student Senate has allocated 15 minutes for this item, and the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here to share with you some information on the Student Health and Counseling Center. It is a tremendous resource to all of our students here at this campus. And so what I'm having passed around right now is what we call our Thrive Plan. And this is our brochure that is a really nice synopsis of all of the work that we do and the services that are provided to every single student here at the university. So there are basically 3 departments that fall under the Student Health and Counseling Center. The first one is our Medical Services Department, and the Medical Services Department offers basic primary care services to any student. That could be maybe you're just simply not feeling well, you have a cold or the flu, maybe you're having bad allergies. Perhaps you have fallen off your scooter and stubbed your toe or broken an arm, or a whole host of different things. Maybe you want to get tested for an STD. When you get the brochure, I think they're basically passed around now, you can see that whole list of services are listed right there for you on the left side. We have a team within medical services that is made up of physicians, nurse practitioners, an RN, LVN, medical assistants. We also have a lab and an x-ray sub-department, I guess you could say. And then we also have a pharmacy, which I want to just take a quick moment to talk about the pharmacy here in a minute as well. So that team of medical professionals is here to provide all of these different services for you 12 months of the year. We are open during spring break as well as in the summer as well. The second department is Counseling and Psychological Services. You'll find that in the middle of the brochure there. The Counseling and Psychological Services department is made up of a team of licensed clinicians. They vary from LMFTs to MFCCs to social workers, and they provide both individual and group counseling for students. We have a variety of different group sessions. For example, today we had our grief group where students who've experienced grief can come in and talk with others to help work through their feelings and the different issues that they may be having. We also offer psychiatry services. We do have a psychiatrist that we contract with, and even some psych residents that come from UCSF to help provide services to students in need. And then the third department is Wellness Services. These are all of our health educators. It's a team of individuals that do all of the health education and promotion on campus. They do everything from the nutrition counseling to Bulldogs for Recovery to flu shot clinics to mental health screening day. They basically are the ones that promote and educate our students in all things that fall under what we would consider health and wellness or health and well-being. So they offer a variety of things throughout the year. You may see them even in the center of campus every Wednesday for our Wellness Wednesday, where we give out fresh fruit, and then we usually promote some either event or program that's coming up, such as the Chris Heron event, which is going on tomorrow evening. I mentioned pharmacy a moment ago. One question I'm asked often is, what is the most underutilized service within the health center? And I mean, every service we offer is amazing. Of course, I'm biased, but it is fantastic. But I would say one of the most underutilized would be the pharmacy. And the reason for that is because while you're here at the university, one may feel that they don't need to go to medical services because they have their own primary care physician outside of the university, or they may not need or feel they need counseling and psychological services. They may not participate in a wellness event. But everybody could use the pharmacy at one point or another. We sell over 300 over-the-counter products. And we will also fill any prescription. You can even bring in an outside prescription if you have one from your own primary care physician, and we will fill it. And the most important thing to know is how inexpensive the pharmacy is. We keep our costs extremely low. And the reason we do that is because it is for students. To give you an example, you can buy a bottle of Advil, which is typically about $7, $8 probably at your local Target or Walgreens. You can get it at our pharmacy for $1.85. That's a 100-count bottle of Advil. And then we also sell just kind of your everyday hygiene items like shampoo, conditioner, toothbrushes, and toothpaste. So I really encourage students to take advantage of the pharmacy. It's important to know you are paying for these services at the Student Health and Counseling Center. Every semester, students pay a mandatory student health fee. Right now it's $160. So while you're a student here, you should really take advantage of that. So with that, I'm going to stop right there. I wanted to give you a kind of a high-level overview of everything that we offer and see if you have any questions that I can answer for you.
Senator Sutton?
A question about the pharmacy. Does the pharmacy accept like outside insurance? Like for, if I brought a prescription to be filled, but I do have health insurance, does it work through that?
Great
Or-
question. We do no billing of insurance. This is
Okay.
within the CSU system.
Okay.
But we keep our prescription costs very, very low. So odds are good that if you bring in an outside prescription, it's probably still cheaper to fill it with us, but you can certainly check, like you can ask. So you could bring one in and say, what would it cost to fill this here? And if your own health insurance covers, you know, it more so, and your what's the word, copay, your copay is less, then certainly we would encourage you, you know, maybe go down the street and get it filled there. But for the most part, usually our prices are less.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you for the question.
Any additional questions? Senator Hazan?
So, from my understanding, these counseling services are provided using student fees. So have we considered extending after hours for counseling services for students who work and aren't able to utilize their services for counseling during the day?
We currently do have a service for after hours. It's called Protocol. So you just call the Student Health and Center Counseling line, and if it's after hours, it will automatically direct you. There's one for medical, which connects you with a registered nurse, or there's one for counseling, which connects you with a licensed therapist. And then they can provide, whether it's a consultation that they will do with you. I would not say that it's ongoing counseling services. You know, you wouldn't like set up a weekly appointment with Protocol, but you can call there and they will give you information on either other resources that are available, perhaps even in the community. They will give us a note so that we can call you back and see if we can set up a time for you. We do have one counselor that does evening appointments. Don't quote me on this, I want to say they go until like 7 p.m. So we've tried to make that available to students as well.
Okay. Have we considered extending it beyond 7 p.m. and maybe having another counselor so that students can utilize it after hours and have weekly appointments?
Yes, we can definitely look into that. We have looked into it in the past, and to be honest with you, there were a couple of concerns or challenges came up. One being that there really wasn't the request for, like it wouldn't fill up with appointments as much. Even though that seems like that would be ideal, students weren't wanting to really have a lot of evening hours, so that's why we have the one counselor that goes until 7. The second challenge is that it would have to be through Zoom sessions because we can't leave the building open past 5 for security reasons. So there are some different things we have to consider there, but I do think that yes, it's definitely always a possibility for us to look into. If there is a need, we want to meet that need.
Any additional questions?
My last question, I
Oh,
promise.
no, go right ahead.
So what would it look like to have, how can I phrase this? How many students would have to demonstrate this need for you guys to be able to offer more hours available or have an additional counselor? Since I'm assuming it's not a funding issue, it's more the lack of demonstrated need or demand for after hours?
Correct.
So how many students, or what would you say is the requirement to, I guess, convince the health center to expand beyond 7 p.m. or offer more of those services?
Sure, no, that's a very fair question because you're right. It's not a funding issue at all. It's more of that availability because we would simply just shift someone's schedule, right? Instead of starting earlier in the morning, they would start later in the morning and go to the evening. So I would need to discuss this with the Director of Counseling and Psychological Services, but basically every counselor has a patient load, right? And they have so many patients a day. Some of them have blocks of time because they do group sessions. We also do drop-in counseling called Let's Talk. And so there's a schedule that they each follow where they do these different pockets of that type of counseling service. So I would need to discuss with her how many patients would it take in order to shift a counselor to that time frame going well into the evening. It's definitely something we can look into. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, I know you mentioned that students, like if they have incidents, can go in. I wanted to ask, what were the highest rate of incidents that the health center sees?
That is an excellent question. So we do track this. We track all of the data of our patient visits throughout the year. And trying to remember off the top of my head what our top medical appointment is right now. And I can't recall. I have a sheet that lays it all out. But I will say that something that is of great concern to us is involving scooter incidents. We've had a number of individuals coming in on a regular basis for scooter injuries. We just had one about 2 hours ago. It's kind of becoming a very regular routine. The statistic that I can give you, the data that we've tracked since we just started tracking scooter, we had to go in the system and actually code them, you know what I mean? Because obviously all patient visits have a certain code. We actually created a code for scooters because it was that frequent. And since I believe it was fall 2023, we've had 127.
Dang.
Now keep in mind, those are just the ones that come into the health center. That's just who we know about. And even some of those might have been, there may be some patients who came in and didn't say it was a scooter, but they have some kind of a scrape or something. So we're suspecting that it's much higher, much higher on campus, but that's the current concern.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any last questions?
Thank you for coming to speak with us, and we appreciate all the work you do at Fresno State.
Thank you, I appreciate the time.
We'll now be moving on to discussion item 7.2. Todd Halverson of the New York Times will provide an overview of a special university subscription offer available to higher education institutions, including access detail, pricing structure, and potential student benefits. Senators will have the opportunity to ask questions and discuss the value of the subscription for the student body. The Student Senate has allocated 15 minutes for this item, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I do need to point out that I'm unable to share my screen, so I do apologize. I should have checked that earlier, but it's not turned on. My name is Todd Halverson. I'm the Higher Education Manager for the New York Times. I celebrated my 19th year with the Times earlier this week. Interestingly, one of my first trips with the Times was to Fresno State to meet with the ASI, which at the time was already a partner of our former print readership program, so our histories together go back quite a long time. I do want to apologize. I am dealing with a cold, so I apologize for any sneezing or coughing, and certainly for my brain fog. I don't know if I'm able to share my screen now. There we go. So let me share my screen with you, so I have reference here. Sarah had provided everyone through us some trial access codes, so you can go beyond the dreaded paywall and review the vast content of the New York Times. You know, we're a very well-known brand, and that's for a reason. I mean, we are the most honored and reputable journalism in the world. We have subscribers all over the world, including university partners all over the world. I actually am responsible for North America. I was just actually in a meeting with student government in British Columbia earlier today. So our reach is vast. What the issue is the paywall, which was a necessity to develop to support our journalism. We are not hinging on advertisers like a lot of news organizations are. Our support comes primarily from our subscribers, and that's partly due to the paywall. But when we launched that, what it did was it alienated student access to our content that helps them in and out of the classroom. So we created this program in 2016 to provide equitable pathways to college students throughout the world. And, you know, it is not a revenue generator. I will share that with you. If you look at our introductory offer, it's $1 a week for 6 months, then it goes to $7.50 a week. You equate that, it's $221 per year for a student subscribe to the New York Times. That creates some equitable barriers. And if you look at the overall cost of this program and divide that number into it, you'll see that with a partnership, what 71 students are paying per year, the entire Bulldog population can have full access to the New York Times, the same experience as subscribers. And I'm speaking of the all access experience that has all of our audio interface, our games, you know, the very popular Wordle, which, by the way, we now have a capability for our subscribers, aka our partners, can actually create their own Wordle puzzles. So I'm really promoting that with our partners. You can literally create Wordles to help promote the program and other initiatives that are going on. So with the New York Times, you have full access to the entire wealth. You know, our expert journalists do all the reporting for you, all the way to finding the best recipes, easy weeknight cooks, cheap eats, those kind of things, wire cutter testing items for your personal use, and doing all that in the Athletic. There is no other sports journalism that's 24/7 like the Athletic. We have 450 dedicated journalists. Yes, we have one that covers the Bulldogs as well, of course. So, you know, with this program, you're providing a vast wealth of resources for the student body, and I'm sharing this out of experience. I don't want to date myself too much, but I took a political geography course in college, and required reading was the New York Times. I went to school in the Midwest. I'm like, what am I going to find out about the Asian Peninsula in the New York Times, you know? And so I was waiting in line at the bookstore to get a 2-day-old copy, kicking and moaning that this is chewing up my ramen noodle budget for the entire week for this one paper. What am I going to get out of it? And I'll tell you, after 2 weeks, I realized, oh my gosh, this not only has helped me in the classroom, but for my personal growth as well. It has been a companion in life's journey ever since. And, you know, of course, when I had the opportunity to join the organization in this capacity, I was all in. You know, you can pay me whatever, I don't care. Just let me connect as many students to this resource as possible. I'm doing it ever since. So I know we have limited time. You have a huge agenda. I don't want to make your night any longer than it already is. So I just want to quickly share with you one component to follow up with the doctors, share with the Wellness, Health and Wellness Center. One of our huge focuses is wellness content. We've increased this 40% since 2020. We continue to invest in wellness content. So there's all kinds of resources in here. Right now, I am looking at a lot of things that has to do with sleep-related. I use a lot of resources to get more fit, eat better. I'm actually going to bookmark this one because there is this chain called Buc-ee's that is coming to the area. They have a turkey jerky, so I want to know if that's going to be okay. But anyway, through this program, everyone would have unlimited access. When students authenticate with their Fresno State EDU, they then have access all the way to December 31st of their graduation year. That is as long as the partnership is in place. Then if they go on to graduate student after that, then they can re-access it through this access process here. So I'm just going to type in California here. So, you know, here's Berkeley. It's a student-only program. So go here, I can go back in through their system and re-authenticate because it's a partnership with their undergraduate student government and their graduate student government. But once they do that, they just set up a username and password. The username is their Fresno State EDU, and their password, whatever they want to set it up. We don't ask for any personal information, no addresses, no credit cards, none of that. Once they activate, they have this just like a subscriber would have. They have their own individual account. They can save articles, sign up for newsletters, join special events like the DealBook Summit, which is a huge event in the business community, and then go back and bookmark other articles like I just did with that jerky article. So it has the complete features and functionalities, and again, not to take too much of your time, one of the things that I bookmarked is the alcohol impact on the human body, and I thought, you know, this is just how well the New York Times really relays all this formative information. It is visual, it's easy to digest, it's easy to get on the run, and we have hundreds of thousands of examples of this in the New York Times. You know, again, the sleep habits. You know, this is something I've been really focused on. My sleep has been getting better. If you want to look at what climate change is doing in Fresno, this article I can put it in Fresno, California, and it's going to tell me everything that's going on in Fresno. You know, then I can go into the article and the tragic events that are unfolding in Tahoe, and there's an interactive of how snow avalanches happen and the dynamics about that. You can kind of put two and two together in some way. And then, of course, you have all these other resources. Again, you know, talking about immigration is top of mind in the nation. This is a huge interactive on immigration and where it's happening throughout the world. Again, easily digestible, easy recipes. I was a first-gen college student. I had no money. I couldn't even eat at the campus cafeteria. It was too expensive. So I had to learn to eat out of necessity, and I just wish I would have had something like cooking when I was in college. However, I did learn how to be frugal at the grocery store and how to cook for myself. And my partner and I are celebrating our 35th anniversary in 2 months. And folks, she did not marry me for my looks, so I can tell you, she salivates every time I say, you know, this is what I'm going to make for dinner. So another great resource. We have a lot of partnerships throughout the world, and it's just been one of the best resources that our partners have provided, and just happy to have this opportunity to answer your questions. So I'm going to stop there and answer your questions about the program.
Do any senators have questions for our guest today? Senators Jarvis?
First of all, thank you for that presentation. Reading off of one of your slides, it says over 10 million U.S. college students has access to the New York Times. Do you have data on how many of them actually use the subscription?
So over 60% have access, and I believe we're somewhere around 28% of that population that is actively using it. It is dynamic because we have more and more partners that come on board. The other thing is visibility, and that is where student governments excel. No offense to other stakeholders, but student governments really know how to connect with their fellow students and have all kinds of marketing resources. So student government partnerships are much higher penetration of usage than with other standard partners. Matter of fact, one of our most used programs is a student-only program in California, and they just broke 64% of their population is using this, and they're costing us literally millions of dollars in lost revenue, but that's fine. We do this to benefit society as a whole. And just FYI on that note, this department was founded by Eugene Sulzberger, the great-grandmother of our current publisher. She created this division so we don't answer to bean counters like the rest of the company does. We are a family initiative. So again, it's all kind of dynamic with, you know, how well it's aware, and of course, you know, the propensity of the students to gravitate towards our journalism in the first place. So that's a long-winded answer, but gives you a good idea. And speaking of which, just want to add one thing. We provide our partners with monthly usage reports. Number of activations, number of articles read, number of page views, number of games played, number of recipes downloaded, number of athletic articles read, number of Wirecutter articles read.
Any additional questions? Senator Hassan?
Hi, yes, so Todd, you had reached out to a couple of senators about a few months ago, and in an email, you mentioned that the New York Times helps to counter misinformation and ensure democracy endures. So my hesitation with that is that the New York Times has historically been a little bit problematic and controversial in their reporting and in their journalism. So I have a question. I want to know, how does restricting the use of accurate and legal terms align with the principles of journalism and journalistic integrity when the New York Times has historically did the exact opposite. For example, they had a memo where they told journalists to avoid the words genocide, ethnic cleansing, and occupied territory. So I hesitate a little bit to approve financing something as big as this because of the lack of journalistic integrity that the New York Times has had in the past. So what would you say is, I guess, why we should continue to, or allow financing of this sort for a news outlet like this?
Yeah, I didn't catch most of that. I couldn't hear you very well, but
I can repeat myself.
as far as our editorial process, I have no comment on that. That is not my side of the business. All I can reflect is, we have 145 Pulitzer Prizes, more than any other news organization, and more than all of our contemporaries combined. And those aren't handed out widely, and that's just Pulitzers. That doesn't even address other ones. So verbiage that is used or not used, that is totally in the editorial department's decision-making process. I have no comment on that. I will share with you that, we do report on facts. That is our mission. We seek the truth and help people understand the world. So, whether a word or verbiage is used or not used, I cannot comment on that. But I know that the data and the stories are vetted and verifiable. And if you go into our articles, you'll see source information. So there's hot links to the source information in the slide that I shared with Sarah. I believe there is about transparency that we have with the New York Times as well. So I apologize that I can't answer about editorial decision-making process and article verbiage, but I do know that all the information contained is vetted, verified, and backed.
Senator Kazan.
So, back to your claim that the information is verified. In December 2023, the New York Times published an article called Screams Without Words, and this essentially was known as a form of propaganda in order to manufacture for a genocide. So I am, again, having hesitation in believing that the New York Times vets their information when sources like The National and The Intercept, also news media outlets, have criticized their lack of accuracy. So I guess back to the question is, how can we trust that the New York Times is a reliable source of information when they have news outlets like the National and The Intercept coming in to say that their information is inaccurate?
And again, I do apologize. I could hear just a little bit about that, but when it comes to articles, is it in the op-ed section or is it in the main section of the New York Times? Because editorial opinions are usually kept in the op-ed section unless it's an article that states that it's analysis or something, or journal, and then there is allowed some of the journalist's perspective of that. I remember when one of our journalists died trying to get into Syria, and that piece was written by Tyler Hicks, a photographer, with him on that journey, and it had a mix of actual information, actual facts with observations and that. So I do apologize that I can't answer the questions about, what is published, verbiage, associations or those things. I can only provide the facts, and that is that the New York Times has 145 Pulitzer Prizes. It may not be perfect, but it's the best the world has, and that's really the only answer I have for that. And if this is a resource that doesn't fit with ASI's needs for vision or mission, I understand that. Again, just appreciate the opportunity to let you know about the program.
If we have additional questions, can we get an amendment to extend time, please? Is there any motion on the floor? Senator Hazan?
I motion to extend the time by 5 minutes.
Is there a second? Senator Hernandez?
I second.
Okay. Any competing motions? Discussion or debate? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say sign. We'll extend time by 5 minutes, and then any other questions? Senator Garces?
I might be wrong, but I think at some point in like 2018 or maybe beforehand, Fresno State students had access to the subscription. Do we know the reason why it went away?
Those were 14-day trial passes. And I can replenish those, so once they're activated, they last for 14 days. It's to give you an idea of what the student experience is and to view the entire wealth of resources beyond the dreaded paywall.
Senator Jarvis?
I'm reading here back in 2018, there was a free year-long subscription to the New York Times provided to Fresno State students. So once again, the question is, why did that go away?
In 2018, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2018, if I recall, that was a collaboration of certain deans that had contributed to a student-only program, or may have included faculty and ASI, and there was something with a budget situation where the deans had to cut their budgets, so they had to cut out the program. And I think it may have been enrollment related because ASI had to drop the program only after 1 year. So it was a financial situation, which interestingly, we're all familiar with, what California is talking about with fee increases and, those things. But the cost of this program today for your student body with the All Access, the Cooking Games, the Athletic, and Wirecutter is nearly identical to the cost of it in 2018 when it was just news only. So again, it was a situation where we just got a plea from ASI that we lost funding, and if we could terminate the program after a year, we did. And we had a similar situation, and I think the print readership program ended in 2016. That was due to budget cuts and the reality that students weren't reading textile print copies as much anymore. So it wasn't getting the reach. You had to be on campus, Monday through Friday. You had to get there before the papers are gone. This program, 24/7, no matter where you are in the world.
President Saleh?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a question kind of bouncing off of Senator Jarvis. He asked earlier the percentage of students that actually use it that are opted in. I wanted to know that percentage of students who use it from the amount of the CSU system as a whole.
The CSU system, I believe they're a little bit higher than the national average. So
Is there a percentage you can provide us?
Yeah. California is home to one of our largest concentrations of readers and subscribers in the world.
Sorry, I'm not sorry. Let me make myself a little bit more clear. I'm asking for a specific percentage of how many students in the CSU system that have access to the subscription actually utilize it.
I would have to ask for a report of that. I have looked at it as they're sent across my desk, and California always stands out as Oregon and Washington State as higher usage than the national average. But for the particular CSU system, what I would need to do, President Saleh, is to ask our customer success one if they could run the report for me, and then ask if I can share that information because it is proprietary.
Okay.
But again, I do want to go back to, we do provide usage reports so you don't have to guess. So you can literally see, and it is our goal and ambition to have as many students utilizing this as possible, which is why we provide turnkey marketing resources to all of our partners to help them get awareness, because awareness is the key. So, but we do provide those reports, and I'll ask for permission to share that information with you, okay?
Yeah, no, that would help a lot because I think I would like to see the reports before the commitment, if that makes sense. Or at least that's my perspective. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I did share a example usage report. This is a news only, and while I can't share who this is, I will share that this is a California institution. I will share that it started over the summer, and by the time the first part of the fiscal year ended, there was nearly 10,000 students utilizing it. Just in January alone, almost 250,000 usage sessions, nearly 1 million page views. So, you know, this is what those usage reports, of course, with All Access now, it is extended on out to include those other resources.
Any final questions? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, thank you for coming to speak with us today. We appreciate your work. We'll be moving on to 7.3 if you want to stay on regarding the vote. We'll be moving on to action item 7.3, the New York Times subscription. Senator Sevi will present a proposal to request $15,705 for ASI to purchase a university-wide subscription to the New York Times. The Senate will review the financial implications, scope of access, and overall relevance of the subscription to student academic needs, and approve or deny this proposal.
Alright guys, you're never gonna guess what I'm gonna ask for. A puppy. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I let Todd do his thing to present the New York Times subscription, because that's his job, and I figured he could do a better job than me at letting you know all that information. Aside from specific statistics, which I'm a numbers person too, so I get it. I love to have data, but I do want to put this forth to you guys to offer this subscription to everybody on campus. I did a little bit of an unofficial survey a couple weeks ago, and out of everybody I asked, nobody said no, they didn't want this subscription. For one reason or another. I had students who say, oh, I love the cooking, or oh, I love the Wordle, or man, that would be really handy when my professor says we have to use this article and it's behind a paywall because it's from New York Times. And that was the exact conversation I had with far too many students, I feel like. At the end of the day, $15,000 is a lot of money. I get that. But it's only 67 cents a person. And that is minuscule compared to what they could be paying out of pocket for this subscription. Even if we only got, 25% of the student body to sign up, it would still be worth the subscription because of how much money it would save versus how much we're actually investing back into the students. So I'm here, I don't have really much else to say besides, I hope you approve this. And also, if it does get approved, one of the things that I would promise to do is work on that marketing, the outreach, getting subscribers, setting up plans to make sure that people are knowing and aware of this resource, and explaining what all they get with it. So that's kind of my part in this. That would be the role that I play. Now, if you have questions, I will take questions, because I'm sure there's questions.
We'll now open the floor for any questions. Senator Hazan.
You mentioned that you did an unofficial survey. Was that word of mouth or?
No, there's a Google form that I did. It was like a simple one question: would you be interested in a New York Times subscription? And nobody said no. Okay. So that was the interesting part.
Senator Hazan.
So I think an interest in a subscription of the sort is much different than a demonstrated need, and that's where another part of my hesitation is coming from. Is there doesn't seem to be a demand for this or a demonstrated need from a lot of students, and $15,000 is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
And so it also feels a little bit irresponsible to use student fees for a subscription of this sort, given how unethical it's been in the past and how unethical it is now. So it kind of feels like if we were to fund this using student fees, we would essentially be endorsing the New York Times editorial positions and their narratives. And that's where my hesitation comes in, not because of how unethical the New York Times is, but also because there is a lack of demonstrated need or want from it. A simple survey of like, yes, I'm interested in it, is just not as convincing enough. I think if it was a bit more thorough and you had quantifiable numbers of lots of students saying that they wanted something like this and that it's a need, it might be a little bit more convincing to allocate and to finance a project of this sort, if that makes any sense.
Yes, and as far as need goes, I mean, access to news is, I feel like quality journalism and access to quality journalism is a growing need for everybody in this country. But for the things like entertainment, the games, the athletic, the cooking, there's really no demonstrable need for those things except for something to do something fun. So it's more of like an experience, a quality experience thing. And it's hard to really say need because a lot of people aren't even going to see what exists if they don't get access to try it, right? So that's like part of what I was gonna ask is to have this be approved for multiple years to give it a chance to really take root. But also I feel like I didn't wanna ask for that because if we try for a year with a digital subscription and it doesn't work, then we're not locked in, right? So I don't feel like it's irresponsible considering some of the other things that we spend student fees on. Like, do we need tailgates? We still do them because they're fun and they provide a good quality experience for students on campus. And this is something that could do the same from their phones, their dorms, their laptops, or just to have access to that one article for a research paper that they want to use that is no longer behind a paywall.
So you mentioned that it's not necessarily a need, but more of an experience. Have you considered maybe working with the library to do something like this, especially because we already have access to the Wall Street Journal. Mm-hmm. It's a subscription that's available to all students. We can use it for free. And they offer similar services that the New York Times does. So I feel like access to cooking recipes and stuff like that, again, doesn't seem worth $15,000 for students, especially when we have other sources. Like we have OneSearch database, again, those are peer-reviewed articles that you can use for your research if you need the New York Times for research, or if you wanted to access an article, the Wall Street Journal has similar topics related to the New York Times. So I'm kind of going back and forth with trying to see why something like this is necessary when we have access to the Wall Street Journal and we have access to OneSearch database, which allows us to, again, peer-reviewed articles that you wouldn't get otherwise. Kind of the same thing as getting behind that paywall is through OneSearch database. So I'm trying to, understand where this experience is worth $15,000 of student fees for when we already have similar media news outlets available to us for free.
So with the OneSearch database, the biggest problem is depending on the agreements that they have with news outlets, it could be lagging, right? You might not have stuff from even this year, this month, this week, right? It could be from a couple years ago. It just depends on the database and then the source of it. And then as far as Wall Street Journal goes, that as a source has it's a narrower focus on what it reports. And I did ask Todd when I met with him, like, have you gone to the library? Have you looked for that partnership? And that is actually a separate, that's like a separate person or a separate program that deals with like the administrative side of colleges. And it wouldn't be as affordable as going through the student governments because this program is a philanthropic effort. So basically the fees isn't really paying the New York Times. Like I said, they do lose money on it. It basically pays to keep this program running and offered to other students. And so as far as the experience, $15,000 does seem like a lot. But I mean, we're given as senators $18,000 a year just for outreach in our constituent funds. It doesn't seem like a lot when it's $1,000 per senator, but altogether, again, we're given $18,000 just for outreach, just to provide things like donuts or ice cream or to print flyers or to buy gifts for, a toy drive. So when we look at it from a bigger perspective and we see these larger numbers, it does seem like a lot. But at less than $1 per student for their fees, I'd say the return value on that is kind of way bigger.
Any additional questions? Senator Jarvis?
I kind of have two questions with this one, and I'm assuming this would just be a year-long commitment.
Yeah.
And to follow that up, I know members of the Senate got a free little trial. Is there no way to run like a free trial around here for like a month or two to see how it would go?
I did not ask Todd that. I don't know the logistics of that. Because like what he did was he sent like individual links to Senate members, and that's I don't know who would be in control of 20 some odd thousand links. So yeah, I don't know.
Senator Martinez?
Going back to your survey that you did, what students answered that survey, like major-wise and?
So it was super unofficial to see if I even wanted to present this as like a thing. It was out at the club day thing, and I went around and I just, hey, just take this one question survey really quick. And then they did, and we would chat a bit about it, and it was very anecdotal. I talked to quite a few people, and then I wanted to do more surveying. But if anybody here has also ran a survey, we know how difficult it is to get responses, especially if it's a longer survey. And I really didn't want to wait too long to present this in case there were like other stipulations to be put on approval or other ideas for what we should do if we wanted to move forward. So I really just wanted to get the conversation started. Yeah.
Hi, I just wanted to ask if you heard any other suggestions for other news sites that other students might be involved in, interested in, I think because you asked, are you interested in New York Times? There's no other option. I think it'd be also helpful to kind of see what other things people would want to read besides New York Times. I think another question I would have too is, upon implementation, how are we going to be collecting our own data to see if people are satisfied with the subscription? How are we going to get the number? Because I think you talked about it too. A lot of it is proprietary information, but I mean, who would be in charge of seeing how many people are downloading and accessing the articles? How many people are actually using it? Those are I think things that need oversight.
Yeah, well, it's only proprietary for other institutions.
Okay.
Any of the data that they get on Fresno State would be made available to the ASI. And so we would know page hits and logins and how many subscriptions are activated, all that. Like I said, they would provide that monthly. As far as who's in charge, that's I'm something to still figure out, right? Do we make it part of the staff to keep control of that? Do we make it the VPF? Do we make it VPEX? Who do we put in charge of that? And that's something that I'm also all ears on, because something like this that would continue on long after we're all done here, it really does beg the question on how would it stay going if it's successful.
Senator Guzman?
I wanted to ask back on the survey, how many students did you collect in that?
Oh, I think it was only one day, and I think I got 60 responses. And it was.
So we only have the 60 students that were yes?
I'm sorry?
On the survey, only 60 students?
Yeah, that was all I did was the super quick, would there even be an interest in this before I continued on? The rest have just been conversations I've had with people.
Senator Martinez?
If we did another survey, I think what we're missing here is more concrete data to demonstrate the need. I definitely would say if we could do another sort of survey. I mean, you seem successful in the one day you collected 60 responses, so I see we could probably do that again. But then also maybe asking too not only are you interested knowing that this is how much it's gonna cost, or here are the numbers and here it is going to cost this much for every single year, or giving them more background or offering alternatives too, because there is also the Fresno Bee, and that's like, that could also be another great resource that we could explore, but yeah, I just wanna add that out there.
Yeah, and Todd actually sent me like a pre-made like battery of survey items if we were interested in running like a fully big survey. But that was, again, I don't remember when I got that. But yeah, that's also an option. Like it's already pre-made. Yeah.
Senator Gallego?
And then from those 60 students that you surveyed, did you get exactly like what specific like college or specific
No.
countries they were in?
No.
Just because I feel like there probably might be some majors out there who don't really utilize New York Times. Like for instance, like I'm an agricultural business student major, where we use things like the USDA to get a research from, where we look at commodity reports. So we don't really utilize the New York Times
Yeah.
whatsoever. And so I feel like that's something that's also like very important to like take into account to like look into, because there probably are majors who do use it, but then there are majors who like mine don't.
Yeah, and there's like one of the things I was thinking of, like if we also like say we choose to do it and we can set up different like QR codes in different areas to know like which students are signing up in what areas, and like we could also see about collecting more data on like usage from that point of view. But no, part of there was just, like I said, it was just at the club day. So whoever was out at the clubs, the different clubs that were tabling, some people that were walking around. Again, it was super unofficial, just to see if there was people who like hated the New York Times and didn't want it at all. I just wanted to see if like that was, you know, a common thing, or people were like, would be excited about it. So.
To kind of piggyback off of what you said about surveying those 60 students at the club or organization fair, was it mentioned to students that if they would receive access to the New York Times, they would be using student fees?
Mm-hmm.
Was that part of the question?
Mm-hmm. Like if ASI wanted to provide this to you and pay for it with, you know, student fees, this is what it would cost, this is what it would cost per person. That was part of the conversation, yes. Yeah, it wasn't like, because, you know, you can't just say free subscription because somebody's paying for it, right? So I did try to be like, no, it's not just offering it out of thin air. It would be paid for, but at the rate that's way lower than the standard subscription.
Senator Hassan?
So we mentioned earlier from Senator Jarvis that in 2018 ASI did fund something like this, but from my understanding, there was very little usage of the subscription. Less than 200 students in a university of 20,000 used it. So how can, I guess, what will you do differently this time around if we were to finance something like this to ensure that more than 200 students use it and that it is worth $15,000?
Honestly, that just comes to the planning, right? And the consistency of getting it out there, right? Like, I don't know what efforts were made back in 2018 to get people to sign up for it, but I've already been kind of outlining a plan of attack to kind of get the word out there as far as signage, as far as, you know, making sure it's being, like we're informing students just the same way that we inform about the free Scantrons, reaching out to the deans of colleges, reaching out to professors and saying, hey, put in your syllabus. I even thought about contacting the Office of Ideas and having a link put into all the Canvas shells. Hey, sign up for your New York Times subscription here. Just as ways to reach out to students where they're at. Again, I don't know what they did in 2018, but like Todd said, it was news only. It wasn't the entire digital subscription. And I think that there's more opportunity to reach different demographics. Like I was thinking, like at the cupboard, like having like an article from the New York Times cooking, promoting it and be like, hey, look, we have these ingredients and you can cook this, and you know, stuff like that. The wellness articles at the Health and Wellness Center, just different ways to promote across campus. It's what I've been thinking about as a project, possibly.
Any additional questions? Seeing and hearing none, we will now open the floor for motions on this item. Senator Jarvis?
I move to table until we get more information when it comes to data.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Okay. Is there any competing motion on the floor? Okay. Senator Morcos?
A motion to vote.
on the motion?
I second.
Any other competing motions? Okay. How this will work is we'll vote on the motion to table. If that motion passes, it'll get tabled. If that motion fails, then we'll vote on the motion to actually vote. So this vote is going to be on the motion to table. And then Senator Armstrong, Senator Camley,
Yes.
Senator Carrillo,
No.
Senator Chovanian,
No.
Senator Guzman,
No.
Senator Hazan,
No.
Senator Hernandez,
No.
Senator Martinez,
Yes.
Senator Marcos,
No.
Senator Anellis,
No.
Senator Pierce,
No.
Senator Rivera,
Yes.
Senator Sevi,
No.
Senator Singh,
Yes.
Senator Vang,
No.
Point
and
of
Senator Jarvis.
information.
Sorry.
Can I vote yes?
The motion to table fails, so we'll now be voting on the motion to actually vote. So the motion to vote, sorry, it's a little bit confusing, but we'll get through it. Senator Armstrong, any questions?
Yeah, okay, so are we voting to pass this right now, or are we voting to?
We're voting to vote. So this will be voting no, and then the next one will be voting yes or no. So this one is, do you want to vote on this item?
Yeah.
Senator Camley,
Yes.
Senator Carrillo,
Yes.
Senator Chovanian,
Yes.
Senator Guzman,
Yes.
Senator Hazan,
Yes.
Senator Hernandez,
Yes.
Senator Jarvis,
Yes.
Senator Martinez,
Abstain.
Senator Marcos,
Yes.
Senator Anellis,
Yes.
Senator Pierce,
Yes.
Senator Rivera,
Yes.
Senator Sevi,
Yes.
Senator Singh,
Yes.
and Senator Vang.
Yes.
Now, we'll finally be voting to vote. So this is yes or no, do you want the New York Times? Senator Armstrong, Senator Kimley,
Yes.
Senator Carrillo,
No.
Senator Chovanian,
No.
Senator Guzman,
No.
Senator Hazan,
No.
Senator Hernandez,
No.
Senator Jarvis,
Abstain.
Senator Martinez,
Abstain.
Senator Marcos,
No.
Senator Anellis,
No.
Senator Pierce,
No.
Senator Rivera,
Abstain.
Senator Sevi,
Yes.
Senator Singh, and Senator Vang.
No.
Action item 7.3, New York Times subscription fails. We'll be moving on to action item 7.4, the e-ballot contract. Operations Manager Frederick Lizitza is proposing switching from a one-year contract to a 3-year contract for Fresno State student body for a multi-year discount. The Student Senate will review and approve or deny this proposal. The Student Senate has allocated 15 minutes for this item, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to clarify, because I can't pass up an educational moment. The way you motion really matters. So if you motion to vote, you will be voting to vote. If you motion to pass, then you will be voting immediately on passing or failing it. So just making sure, Maris was making sure she did it really correct, and that was really correct, but it really depends on how you motion. Sorry. That's my one little old man rant. So for this item, we normally renew our election ballot agreement with eBallot every single year. The amounts so far, so last year we paid $5,350 for our 1-year contract. The year before that we paid $5,100, and the year before that we paid $4,950. Every year the contract goes up due to inflation and cost increases. If we were to, so what I'm proposing today is instead of us doing a 1-year agreement, we do a 3-year agreement. We would be locking down the rate of $5,395 for the next 3 years. We wouldn't be paying, so in total it would be $16,185. We would not be paying $16,185 this year. This year, all we would be paying is $5,395 for the regular contract, but this locks us down for that yearly rate so that we can be locked down to this rate and it won't keep increasing on us due to inflation, right? So we already have an agreement set with them. Our contract is already signed with them from last year. This is just for renewal for the next 3 years. If it wasn't a vendor that we were already established with, then I would have had to bring to you 2 other quote options. But since we're already in agreement with them until the end of this year, this would be for next year, so that in our we won't have to keep increasing the election budget line for what we need to pay for e-ballot. That makes sense. So just as a quick recap, I am requesting at this meeting $5,395, but I'm requesting us as a Senate to commit to this contract for 3 years for a total of $16,185. And if we were to renew yearly with the pattern of increases that they have, which is about $125 each year, we would be paying over the course of 3 years $16,775 instead of the $16,185. So I'm really saving us $600 something over the lifespan of 3 years. So it's not that much, but I try to be a penny pusher as much as I can. So that's my pitch. So any questions? Or sorry, Chair, if you could open the floor for questions. My bad.
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing and hearing, any questions? Senator Marcos.
I'm a penny pusher too. Have you looked into the possibility of expanding it past 3 years? Maybe 5, maybe 8?
Well, well, technically I could, if you guys did a really uppity motion, I could go back and say, hey, my Senate has approved for a 7-year contract. They would be very upset with us, right? But they would commit to it just because they did offer that they have 3, 5, 7, and 8-year option contracts, right? I don't want to commit too far in advance because there's a chance that something changes, right? Maybe our modalities and how our preferences are when it comes to voting changes. And I wouldn't want to lock an ASI down into a modality that in the future they think is defunct, but they're locked down to a financial contract. So, but, you know, if you guys decided, hey, 5-year term, that's in the motion, it's up to you.
Any other questions? Seeing and hearing none, we'll open the floor for any motions.
Motion to approve? It's approved, or?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Senator Hernandez?
I second.
Okay, any competing motions? Any discussion or debate? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Moving on to action item 7.5, ASI President Soleil will present the consent calendar containing all ASI committee appointments and removals. The Student Senate shall vote to affirm or deny these appointments, and the Student Senate has reserved 5 minutes for this item.
So this is my consent calendar for today. It's quite short, but it was one committee approval to an internal committee, and then there are inactivity removals. EVP Prado has reached out to them, giving some students responded saying they would like to be removed from the committee. Other students completely ghosted. Again, it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, we did our due diligence of reaching out to them and really providing the opportunity for students to serve in our ASI committee, and if it's not the fit, then it's not the fit at the end of the day. So our goal is to open them up back up and just make sure the seats are reserved for students who want to be active. So yeah, just for transparency, I wanted to touch more on that because it looks bad when you first look at it. But if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. And as you can see, this committee appointment lists Senator Hassan's name on at-large committees. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Any questions? Okay. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Giovanni?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Senator Martinez?
Second.
Okay, any discussion or debate? Any competing motions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The motion to approve passes. We'll be moving on to action item 7.6, financial consent calendar. ASI VPF Guzman will present the financial consent calendar containing all proposed grants. The Student Senate shall vote to affirm or deny the consent calendar.
Mine's also really short. It's only 2 for sponsor activity grants, and then there was 1 for Phi Alpha Honor Society for $3,000, and there was 1 for Social Work Student Association for $4,000. That's literally it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know.
Any questions? Okay. We'll now open the floor for motions. Is there a motion on the floor? Senator Martinez?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Senator Hernandez? Okay. Any competing motions? Any discussion or debate? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The motion passes. We'll now be moving on to 8.0, second public comment. Members of the public are again invited to address the Senate on any issue related to ASI or California State University, Fresno. Each speaker is allotted up to 3 minutes. If there's any public comment, please approach the podium. Seeing and hearing none, we will now move forward to item 9.0, reports. First item is 9.1, executive reports, starting with President Slow.
Sorry, I always forget what I put on it. But I did have kind of some updates. This past Thursday, I drove up to Sacramento. I'm a part of the CSU's Board of Trustees Student Search Committee. So all Friday we were interviewing finalists, so that's underway. There's 3 finalists, and there will be like forums if you guys want to meet the finalists before, and the governor makes the final approval, but you are able to give feedback to the governor based on the candidates. And the CSU Board of Trustees is really, really important, as we saw with the tuition raise and as we saw with the executive pay increases. They seem so detached from us, but they make really important policy decisions that impact us directly. So I will share that out with you guys and put it on your calendar when it does happen, the open forums. It's not just reserved for CSSA board members. It's open to anyone who wants to join and really get to know the candidates and ask them questions so you can give your feedback to the governor's office. And then I was going to talk about the Chris Herron event. Dr. Allen already did, but ASI is technically a sponsor. My amazing chief of staff sent an invite out to everyone. So if you're able to, it's tomorrow at 6 p.m. in the RSU. And then I am working on a few projects, but we're still underworking. And so also Advocacy Day, me and Danielle are traveling next Wednesday together for Advocacy Day with the President's Office to really push the fact that we need money for our CSU system, and specifically Fresno State. So we're meeting with our California legislators. And I think that's all I have to report. If you have any questions or any meetings you want to see, please refer to my report. And thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
I've been working on Bulldog Voices for credential program students. Credential students typically have online courses, so I want to make sure that they're in the modality that works best for them. So I'm working with the Kremen department on surveying whether students like online, in-person, or hybrid, and that's a survey we're pushing out. And then also with the Dream Success Center, we're doing the collaborative campaign. The JEDI committee has been gracious enough to help us with providing feedback as well. And if you have any feedback, please share that and we'd be happy to incorporate it. But we're essentially doing a video as well as a pamphlet that will be kind of unveiled during Dream Week. And then also we're working on a bus stop tree planting. For commuter students, there was a bus stop implemented in Joyelle, but we're also going to do a tree planting. That way the shade covers them from the back as well, since the bus stop is kind of just the top. And then some trees in the surrounding area so future Bulldogs can have shade as well. But with that, I yield my time.
Hey guys, so something that I've been working on is setting up finance trainings for the semester. I will be reaching out to the finance committee to see their schedules so I can also work around that so you guys are able to attend. But with that, everyone was selected for the positive grant, so there was like a back and forth with accounting services, but finally everyone that was selected got their money, so I'm grateful for that. And then also the grad bag distribution, the event that me and Mary did, it was really successful, so hopefully we can continue doing this in the future. And with that, I yield my time.
Hi everyone. So first of all, CSSA is this weekend. We are presenting the resolution that we worked on in External Affairs Committee again. So there's an edited version of that, so we're presenting that over virtual CSSA this weekend, and then I will provide updates on how that goes. Also right now I'm emailing legislators for CHES to schedule meetings when we go in March to lobby. And then also working with CSU Stanislaus, CSU Vancouversfield, and then CSU Monterey Bay, because some of us have like joint appointments. So we're just coordinating those meetings right now for March. And then just a reminder to tell everyone you know to apply for the travel grant. We want more applications. I think applications are always like, it's always great to have more competition, right? You know, award most qualified people. And then another thing, I think IRA is open until the 6th, so just a reminder to remind everyone else you know to apply for IRA funds. They have activities. And then that concludes my report. If you have any other questions, refer to my report, and then I yield my time.
So we'll now open the floor for item 9.2, Senator reports, starting with Senator Rowe.
What's going on, y'all? I just want to give a big shout out to Senator Guzman, our JEDI senator, for helping out BSSI and BSU for the haircut they did. on the Gen Code laundry detergent. I'll probably be in the office tomorrow. Finish up. I don't know if anybody wanna help out, but if I do, I'll be there. Other than that, I don't got any announcements, so I'll go ahead and get on.
Hi everyone. So right now I've been working on the supplies baskets for the teacher credential completer ceremony, and I also met with my team last week and he approved the patio furniture. So now we're still working on that for the Kremen outside patio. And I've also been sitting on the Dean Search Committee for Kremen. And I have been working with the Leadership Council, and that's been going on. And with that, I have my time.
Hello. So I've just been working on the computer things, just planning things not only with like other senators, so like potential collaborations in the future, and also just trying to think of like more events that me and my committee could do. If you guys would like to collaborate on anything, I'm open, I'm free. But with that, for anything, just work my report and then my time.
Hi everyone, I'm currently working on expanding more knowledge of the shuttle service because it's a great service and it's not being as utilized as it should be, so please spread to your friends and constituents more info on that. And in addition to that, I'm going to be working on a few parking projects. For any questions, please yield to my report, and with that I give my time.
Hi everyone, so right now I'm not working on, I am working on something with Mia and Sarai. We're doing something for Easter, so if you guys have any ideas, just let us know. But yeah, just thank you to everybody who helped me with the BSSI thing. I really appreciate it. Mia, everybody that came as well was really successful, so I really hope that ASI continues that partnership because it was really nice to see like everybody come together, and I just think it was really necessary. And thank you. And I yield my time.
Hello everyone. I'm still working on the PHS lounge. Lori got me. So I didn't realize how many campus policy restrictions there are to furniture. So hopefully that might be a semester long thing. The goal is to walk out of here with the lounge because it's gross. But other than that, I'm working with Senator Carrillo with the outdoor charging stations. Work in progress, but for any other meetings and events, please refer to my report, and with that, I yield my time.
Hi everyone. A few projects I'm currently working on is with the Transfer Success Center with Erica. We met last week in regards to a degree progress report project I'm working for transfer students. A lot of them do not know how to utilize that, and I think that's very important for everyone on campus. Also working closely with TRIO, the Veterans Education Program. They will be hosting a Women's Veterans March on March 26th. If you guys would like to show up for that, that would be greatly appreciated. As for now, is there any projects or reports, please refer to my report, and with that, I yield my time.
It's only been a week, but I've been working on the non-resident tuition fee resolution, including 7 o'clock at night phone calls with the Vice President of System 1 Affairs for CSSA. I've been meeting constituents and clubs, getting to know who I'm representing. And I've also been, a little project I've started is working on student rights cards, because I believe it's important that students know their rights. And on that card, it will have a QR code where you can view your rights a little bit more in heavy detail with all the academic language. And it'll have a QR code where you can actually report potential violations. And I want to thank staff for working on the graphic designs, because I can write songs, but I can't do graphic design. I yield my time.
Hi guys, so I've just been working on trying to get the dates confirmed for my volunteer day. We're going to be planting flowers around the Craig School Business Fountain. You guys know it's kind of looking a little bare, looking a little sad right now, so we're going to spruce up a little bit. So that we have going for March 13th. And then we also are going to be working on doing a collaboration with the Craig School of Business. So something with the fountain, maybe do like an unveiling in collaboration with Day of Giving, so more info on that soon. And then other than that, just stuff with clubs, trying to get things organized and have a real space for students at the Craig School. So with that, if you have any projects, collaborations, questions, go to my report, and with that, you'll my time.
I've been taking a page out of Maris's book and hosting one-on-ones with Rush chairmen of various organizations, trying to, I guess, give ideas, emphasize policy. Same old, the rush went pretty well, and there's in some instances still going. Beyond that, I give my time.
Hi everyone, I set a date for the resource fair for COS. It will be April 15th. If anyone has any ideas or would like to see something there, please let me know, and with that, I give my time.
So I've just been working on National Ag Week, so that's going to be March 9th through the 12th. The 12th being our big day. It's going to be in the SSU from 11 to 2. I would love to see you guys there. I finally have all the information finalized. There's going to be a mechanical bowl tournament where I'll be giving away a buckle to the winner, a Dutch truck, and then just kind of a club rush. But that's all my main focus right now. I'm glad I did my time.
Hi everybody. I reached out to all the people that needed to reach out for the Bucket After Hour event, which is going to be karaoke. So going to be giving out prizes. So that and the grad photos at the stadium I reached out to who I need to reach out to. Other than that, last week I did my Dana Life as a Senator. Thank you guys for liking that. I appreciate it. But other than that, for all other things, refer to my report, and with that, I yield my time.
Hi, good to hear from me again. So what have I been doing? The New York Times stuff, thinking about new Senate positions, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with the rest of the semester, talking to people, so much talking. But if you want details, go ahead and look at my report. I yield my time.
Okay, so a couple of projects I've been working on is the National Engineers Week that is coming up next week, and then we also have the Projects Day coming in, so I'm just making sure we're prepared for that. And for further updates, just refer to my report. I use my time.
So I'll be meeting with my leadership council tomorrow. We're going to be going over our little International Women's Science Day. We did a little feature of Dr. Toro, and I think what she had to say about being a woman in science, especially now, was really insightful. So I'm really grateful that she was able to share her insights. We're going to be discussing kind of like what we want to do for like final survival kits. I'm also thinking of doing a pistol giveaway because the previous senator did that, and so I think that would be very nice to do for the graduating seniors. And then we're going to plan on doing like social media for data giving. But other than that, I live in that.
We will now open the floor for item 9.3, staff reports. Operations Manager Lizette, the floor is yours.
Hey guys, so a few things to announce is not this Friday, but next Friday, Luis is going on about a 2-week, 3-week leave. So if there's anything that you are working with Luis on in terms of projects or anything you're planning on approaching him with, please start coming to me, clue me in on your project so I can start putting it on my calendars and I can make sure I'm available. So I can, because I have the diner's card. I'm gonna have to, if you need to buy food or from a vendor, I'll have to come with you so I can buy it for you. So, and then I have the election and I have a few other things. So if you come to me, I schedule you in, then we're good. I'm clued in on what you're doing and how I can help you. And that way I can make sure you guys aren't in the lurch when Luis is gone. And then a few weeks after that, Manny might be going on leave for about 3 or 4 weeks, right? So if there's anything that you're working with Manny on or anything you're communicating with him on, make sure to start transitioning over to bring it over to me, and then we can talk about it so I can make sure that there's no lapse in what you need help in. So, so also I just wanted to do a reminder on some election stuff, which is please promote as much as you can to students that the election is going on to come to the office to pick up a packet. You promoting the election is not you campaigning, it's not you breaking a rule. You campaigning for someone or saying you should, come to the office so that you can vote for this person or sign this person's petition packet. That is what's not allowed, but you can tell people and encourage people you should run or you should come to the ASI election workshops to see if they want to run, right? And then just as a reminder, you can get, if it comes to that, the Election Complaint Committee can remove you from your seats in ASI if you break things that are considered violations. If you endorse a candidate when you're not allowed to, that's a violation. If you are talking about other people's campaign in the office that's not on the business side with me or one of the election commissioners, that can be seen as a violation as well. So it can just be a good practice to not talk about other people's campaigns, especially in an office. And I would even warn against talking about people's campaigns out of office as well, because we have had disqualifications and things in the past when candidates and campaign workers and people associated with ASI have spoken badly about another person or another candidate, and a student court in the past has disqualified that person, etc. So please be mindful. A good rule is just don't talk about the election unless it's with me or one of the election commissioners in the ASI offices, and just avoid talking about other people's campaigns, period. Because it's a student election, even if you're not running, it should be competitive and fun, and it should be nothing but those two things. It shouldn't be nasty, shouldn't be detracting from each other. I'm not saying any of this stuff has happened, but once we start entering into election season, these things are much more likely to start, right? So I just want to repeatedly warn you guys, so you have it fresh in your hand, that even if you're not running, you can be held accountable to the election code rules because you are ASI members. So with that, I yield my time.
Thank you everyone for your report. We'll now be moving forward to item 10.0, adjournment. Does any member have any further business before we adjourn this meeting? Seeing none, I will open the floor for motions on adjournment. Senator Rivera.
Motion.
Okay, is there a second? Senator
I
Singh.
second.
Okay. Any competing motions? Any discussion or debate? We'll now vote on the motion to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? The motion to adjourn passes. I adjourn this meeting of the ASI Student Senate meeting on Wednesday, February 18, 2026 at 5:26 p.m. As always, go to